What's up, welcome back to Nostalgia. Dave here with a review of Paddington in Peru, the latest animated adventure comedy film, the third in the Paddington series, which of course is a Hallmark, landmark children's film series from Britain, of course adapting the famous Paddington Bear Michael Bond books from the 20th century. The first two Paddington movies were directed by Paul King. Paddington Peru was not. Dougal Wilson takes over. Paul King instead went on to make Wonka with Timothy Chalamet last year. That being said, this is the first Paddington movie since Paddington 2, released in 2017, and of course Paddington 2 is one of the biggest instant classics of the 21st century. That film dethroned Citizen Kane as the highest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes. Only after the fact did it even get its first negative review for all what that means, of course. But Paddington and Paddington 2 especially really grabbed people as a really effective and charming, kids film series. So it was only a matter of time before another Paddington movie would come out, and of course they were actually quite successful, particularly overseas. But overall, they're strongly performing movies, so it made sense we would get something else again. Paddington Peru definitely continues the great vibes that you get from the Paddington film series. The ensemble cast, Ben Wishaw's excellent voice performance, fun bits of physical comedy, a general charming and nice nature to the storytelling, all that's still here. I do think Paddington Peru is lacking compared to the high marks set from the first two movies, because taking us out of London and going to Paddington's native Peru instead changes what kind of movie this is. We obviously don't have a lot of the same charms and quirks that we got with Paddington being in London, being in England. And this is more of a straightforward form of storytelling compared to the first two Paddington movies. It's still good. It's still a great time. It's still funny. It's still really nice. It's just not quite as excellent as the first two movies. Another notable aspect to Paddington Peru is that Sally Hawkins' Mrs. Brown character was recast. Mary Brown is now played by Emily Mortimer. And that was something that, at least publicly, officially, Sally Hawkins apparently just didn't want to return. She had a statement put out publicly when they announced the recast. So honestly, Emily Mortimer though fits in just fine. Fits like a glove. I thought she was great. Of course, Hugh Bonneville also incredibly charming as Mr. Brown in the film. I did find it a bit interesting that Antonio Banderas is effectively playing a very similar character compared to what he did in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny in terms of a guy on a boat, a supporting character on a boat. I think he has one of the main antagonists in the movie, the main antagonist, I guess you could say. His whole familial curse, familial baggage, where he's seeing different versions of his ancestors, also all played by Banderas. It's like, I don't know if that stuff totally landed. Again, we're comparing the villain in this movie to the excellent work from Hugh Grant in Paddington 2. It just doesn't really compare. But I thought Banderas was okay. I liked Olivia Colman's role as the Reverend Mother a lot more, just because they tease you and they lead you into thinking things about her character, then they fake you out with it, and then they actually have a late-breaking reveal once again with her. Partially telegraphed to any adult viewer in the sense that it's Olivia Colman. She's not going to have a really small, nothing part, so you have to assume something's going to happen with her character. But I still like the way they handled it, and she was a fun presence and really grabbed the energy and the charms and the whimsy of the Paddington storytelling again. I do think the very end of the film also is quite heartwarming as well. It's just a really satisfying form of storytelling, even if I think some of the set pieces probably are less good than others. I think the stuff on the boat, I liked all the stuff on the boat early on. I love the stuff with the rolling boulder. The stuff in the middle of the jungle is fine. But yeah, overall, it's a solid Paddington film. It's just not really a transcendent one. Maybe we'll attribute some of that to Paul King not being the director this time around, only having a story by credit for what that's worth. If we ever had an Oscar category for mocap and voice work, though, Ben Whishaw would certainly be up for it, because his performance as Paddington is so great. And the Paddington character is just so fun and despite his ups and downs, his trials and tribulations. He's just fun to be with. And yeah, shout out Paddington. I mean, even a lesser Paddington film is still better than most children's entertainment that comes out. So we have to remember that. Let me know though, what'd you think of Paddington in Peru? What'd you like most about it? How would you compare it to the previous films? Let me know. And for more movie reviews, subscribe. And I'll see you next time.